Oh, we're live. Isn't that wondrous? Oh, don't you love to see it? Hello everybody. If you're watching this in the future, on the VOD or whatever, you can safely skip ahead 10 minutes or so, because that's how long we're going to be talking about nothing, and then we'll get into the theorizing about 10 minutes from now. That's right, we're talking about theories. Isn't that what you wanted? I'm gonna set a timer for 10 minutes so that I don't forget that, because I am prone to forgetting that kind of thing. I'll just get swept up in the moment. Hope everyone's having a good day. I haven't been awake too long. It's fucking freezing over here, but oh, wow, hello everyone. Oh, look at all of you. Hello, my little chatums. Filling up the chat. Oh, you know what? I need to do the thing where I tell the Discord. Tell everybody. Hi, everyone. Oh my goodness, there's so many of you. Oh, it's so lovely to see you all. Thanks for dropping by. Oh, just to see little old me. I'm actually quite large, but it's the thought that counts. Get the link. Copy it to the Discord. Ping, 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 ping. Ping, 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 ping. Everyone, get in here. Alright, there we go. So, we're going to be talking about ice and fire theories today. That is what's happening. That's the thing that's occurring today. If you were here to listen if you're here to think about the Dragon Show, don't. That's not what's happening here. We're talking about the Fat Man books. Some people submitted theories that fit into both canons. I'm sure some of those will slip through the cracks, but I plan on talking about them mostly separately. We'll do them at the very, very end. Yes. Okie dokie. Maybe 10 minutes was a bit of an overestimation, but I've said it now, so... Oh, we just got an alert. That's funny. I have subscriptions turned on for alerts. I said 10 minutes at the start, so I guess we're hanging out for 10 minutes. Yes, I have a spreadsheet, a big fucking spreadsheet, and those are the appropriate words to describe it. This thing has over 600 submissions in it. So that's what I've been dealing with of late, while also writing videos, and I do other stuff with my life as well, believe it or not. So this has been a great usage of my limited resources. It's been great. I was thinking for so long about how to do this, like what order to do all of these in. You know, do I do them by category? Am I going to talk about them by character? Am I gonna, you know, try and make some rhyme or reason to this? And the answer is no. I'm not gonna do any of those things. I'm just gonna pick theories basically out of a hat. I'm just gonna scroll along until I see something that I think, yes, let's talk about that. And look, there's not much we can do about that. Oh, someone super chatted already. Why would you do that? But thank you. Yes, the Fat Man books are much better than Dragon's Show. How long will I stream? I said the last one was going to go for 3 hours, and that was a lie. I'd like for this one to go for 3 hours too. I've got other things to do with my day, and in about 3 hours' time, as far as I'm aware, Europe should be going to sleep. Pimp my Twitter? I don't know if there's a need for that. I mean, you can still follow me on Twitter if you want to. It's not the biggest deal. It's just a little Twitter account. You stopped watching a lecture on the Jacobites to watch this. Hopefully you can continue watching that. That sounds interesting. All right, yeah. So the submissions have been just flooding in recently. I think before I made the first season 6 video, there were like 200 650 something around there. Yeah, it's over 600 now, so thanks everyone. Going to sleep at 2 a.m. Yeah, it's Saturday, right? Look, I try to make things as best as possible for an international audience, but the best time to stream is literally 2 a.m. for me, and that's like to start the streaming. So I'd be going from 2 a.m. till 6 a.m. and it's like, what? No, no, I'm not doing that. Not right now. This tea is tepid at best. Ugh. All right. You've been enjoying the the videos I've been doing of late and such? I hope so. I've been enjoying them. They've been doing super well. Thanks everyone for watching them. It's been great. Say the line. I might do that at some point. When I piss take review the books, it doesn't really work like that, does it? You flipped your desk watching footy. Don't know if many fellow countrymen are around. It is 7 in the morning, so fuck that. But on a Sunday, no less. But our holy day was yesterday, our grand final, and I don't watch footy much, but I enjoyed watching that game. It was a really close contest, and then at the very end, it became like the floodgates opened. It was fucking like crazy, man. By the end, like the score was being doubled. This kid kicked 6 goals. It was incredible. Anyway, none of you care about that. I'm just trying to pad the time so I don't have to talk about all of your stupid theories. So many of these are so dumb. And I can't wait to talk about them. Most of them are legitimate. And man, it's gonna take a long time to get through all of these. Oh no, not content. Oh no. The Piss Maestro. He's obsessed with that name these days, aren't you, Simcoe? Got review when? Hopefully that'll be the next thing after Season 6 videos. Golden stream, I hate you. It's censored piss. You think Ned is Ned? I don't know, man. It's kind of ridiculous. Alright. I might just go down the list when we start. There's a lot of repeated theories that I haven't filtered out yet, so expect a lot of we've already done that. I'm fully anticipating that I will review the same theory twice. And you will all laugh at me, and I will not notice because I won't be looking at chat. It'll be funny for you, it will be nothing for me, and I'll edit it out in the future, and it just won't matter. Right? Your entertainment doesn't matter to me. This is about the theories, everybody. Hey, who's typing in German in the chat? None of that. This is a Shrine-only chat. Oh, another thing is, if you were expecting to hear a certain theory but didn't hear it, submit it. The link is in the description and such. Is Nymeria the zombie polar bear? No. So the thing with that is that we want a zombie polar bear, goddammit. And see, they said that they were pushing the producers to put a zombie polar bear in for several years at that point. But how would that have fit into any of the previous seasons? Whew. No Germans allowed. Oh, come on, man. Too many in this Discord. Look, if you think that we need some more people in the Discord to balance out the abundance of Germans, I don't know why so many German people are attracted to my Discord server. But, you know, I just like having people around. Oh, hello. Everybody, we are starting very soon. Oh, we're starting right now. Cool. So that was the 10-minute timer ending. Okay, here we go. I'm switching to this view now. Excelente. And that's that. We'll be talking about theories from now on. The first submission I received, this was almost 2 months ago that I started these submissions, was by someone called Boots the White, who submitted Gerion Lannister is the Shrouded Lord. So this is a reference, well, it's not, it's a theory concerning, I think it's Tyrion 3, A Dance with Dragons, where they're sailing through the Sorrows. And, you know, the thing happens, and people start getting grayscale, and there's these weird, it's weird, and then Tyrion doesn't get grayscale. The Shrouded Lord spares him. The Shrouded Lord being this mystical figure that is supposedly, like, you know, dishes out the grayscale, is in charge of all the spooky shit going on in the Sorrows. And people think, well, hang on. Why is it that Tyrion didn't get grayscale, but, you know, Jon Connington did? And there are a few explanations that people come up with. One of them is that Tyrion is a Targaryen, and Targaryens tend not to get sick, and so that's why he didn't get grayscale. If you know me, you know I'm not inclined towards that theory. Now, Gerion Lannister being the Shrouded Lord, it's one I've had to grapple with a little bit, but I do not hate this theory. In any regard, I think it's actually quite good to bring Gerion Lannister back into the fold like that. Give him some purpose throughout. I think there's an Alt-Shift-X video on this as well. Give him some role in the story, even if I don't think this will be confirmed. By the way, that's the thing that this axial plotting of theories doesn't capture is whether or not I think it'll ever actually come up again, because I don't think this will. I don't think we'll ever find out that Gerion Lannister is the Shrouded Lord. However, I like it, and I think there's some chance to it. I'm not going to say it's definite or anything like that. I think there's a good chance. It's my favorite theory for explaining who the Shrouded Lord is, and for what happened to Gerion Lannister. There are other ideas about what happened to him, being the Lannister uncle who went off to find, was it? Hang on, am I missing him up? No, there are a few Lannisters throughout history who were trying to find Bright Raw, and I think he was one of them, wasn't he? Yeah. Okay, so, yeah, that's that one. Gerion Lannister, Shrouded Lord, not terrible, not awful. The second one I received, also from Boots, is, Jojen paste. Everyone loves Jojen paste, just like Grandma used to make. If you're unfamiliar, this is, I think most people are familiar, this is the idea that in the Three-Eyed Crow's cave, the weirwood paste that's blood red that Bran eats is actually Jojen. And there's a lot of links throughout the story between cannibalism and awakening deep powers within oneself. And references to cannibalism and power are rife throughout the story. The Rat King is probably the closest example linking those two things, that cannibalism, eating one's kin, one's friends, is a way of, you know, becoming powerful. So I think it's a very George R.R. Martin thing to have written. I just said the guy's full name. It's a very Gurm thing to write, and it explains where the fuck Jojen went throughout those chapters. It explains what the hell the paste was. I think there's a very high likelihood, and I'm quite fond of the theory. I think it's a great one. There it is. There's Jojen paste. Okay, now I've got something a lot less workable. We've got, also from Boots, we're going through all of Boots' first. We've got Ned wasn't executed. Now, this isn't Ned was executed and lived on as something else. We'll talk about them later on. So this one is cope, firstly. I think more it's tinfoil, actually, that Ned wasn't executed, because no one actually believed this. Ned Stark is dead, man. And his death is quite important to the logic of the story. But this theory is that Varys paid the faceless men in his place, so they had a faceless man executed instead of Ned Stark. I don't see the point of that, especially because so this idea says that Varys says Ned is a useful pawn to help him against Littlefinger, but then, well, why don't we ever hear from Ned ever again, even though we follow Varys around for a little bit? No. I almost kind of just want to get rid of this one altogether. It's not even really worth having on the field, but we'll just put it over here. Yeah, no. Ned dying is super important. Oh boy. Now the next one is gonna ruffle some feathers. It's time to talk about some parentage. Is everyone ready to talk about Rhaegar, Lyanna, and who their baby is? I'm just gonna start with, of course, the obvious theory we have in the canon, and that's R+L=J. I don't think this one needs any introduction. It's canon in the show. We all saw it happen, and so people are like, okay, well, that's that then. So there you go. Oh god, I really need to not look at chat, isn't that right? Okay, so R+L=J, a big question throughout. Actually, it's not even that big, but it comes up is, it's kind of integral to Jon's character, but a lot of things are integral to Jon's character is, who's me fucking mum? And here's your answer, Jon, it's Lyanna Stark, and your dad's not Ned. Well, he is your dad, but he's not your baby daddy. So there are a few interpretations of R+L=J, I'll be frank, and by that I mean ways in which Rhaegar and Lyanna interacted with one another. Some people think it's like a star-crossed lovers type of, they were destined to bring forth the savior, and they eloped out of love and a desire to save the world. And another interpretation puts it as a 24-year-old man manipulated a teenage girl into running away with him, cheating on his wife, and and making a baby. So there's a lot to be said about this one. For the most part, we'll talk about other Tower of Joy stuff later on. We'll get to all of that. But R+L=J seems pretty likely. And it's good. There are over the years, people have poked holes in this idea. And a lot of those ideas have to do with other people, basically. Why doesn't Ned ever think of Rhaegar? Why does Ned's relationship with Jon, in spite of remaining so static, influence his decisions in King's Landing, if this is true? Is kind of a suggestion put forward through how he behaves after he relives the Tower of Joy in his dreams. And I think that those holes are worth poking. I think they're worth looking into. I also think that at a certain point, this story, as trope-averse as it is, still needs to fall into tropes to twist them. So there's this idea that because Jon is the son of Rhaegar and Lyanna, that he's, they've been secretly married, and he's the secret heir to the throne, and he's the chosen one, and he's going to save everything and become king. And I don't know if too many people actually believe that. I think a lot of people are clued in to the way that George writes not being all that tied up in a neat little package. I think this is probably true, and I know that may surprise a few people. I also don't hate it at all. I quite like it. And then the nitty-gritty. Then the details of the relationship. That's where I start disagreeing with a lot of people. I do not think Rhaegar was the coolest guy. And I think... Now, do I think that... That's interesting. Do I think that because Gurm wants me to think that, or is that just me projecting my ideas about the kind of person Rhaegar would be in our real world onto him as a fictional character? Now, that might be a bit too much for this particular discussion. People are throwing around the stupidest ideas in chat. Why would I ever look there? So yeah, that's R plus L equals J. It's look, let's be honest, it's probably true, and it's not bad. Okay? Sorry everyone. We'll talk about other ideas as well. I love talking about other ideas. And we'll get into those. There are some of them I also don't hate as well. Then we have let's skip around a bit. Actually, you know what? I need to mark the ones that I've done so that I don't redo them. So there we go. Bang. Love ticking those off. Okay, let's chew on something a little lighter, perhaps, than R plus L equals J. Actually, no, maybe let's dwell in that area now that I've opened the can of worms. Next up is R plus L equals D. This is the idea that Rhaegar and Lyanna's child is Daenerys Targaryen. Now, this is packaged with a lot of other ideas. Typically, that Jon is Jon has to be the child of another coupling, or sometimes people say that both Daenerys and Jon are Rhaegar and Lyanna's children, which is, actually, you know what, I'll just put that on the board. To start off with, we've got R plus L equals D plus J, and I'm just going to put that down where it belongs. There we go. And so this idea is based on... It's based. No. So people think that Daenerys' past is pretty wacky, and I don't think they're wrong to think that. I think that Daenerys, there's something strange going on there about the things she thinks about her childhood, the things she thinks about her identity, and the way that she's introduced to us in the story. So, and the other idea, so that's, we'll talk about that in just a moment. We'll get to Lemongate. But then from that, people are wondering, well, who is this girl actually? And then this R plus L equals D idea, the idea is that it explains some of what Ned does in King's Landing. Well, actually, the most important thing he does in King's Landing, which is decide to stay after the Tower of Joy Dream. So in King's Landing, Ned has the power to stop the assassination attempt on Daenerys, and people say that, well, if that's what he can do, and that's what he tries to do after the dream, why doesn't he... Well, then, why wouldn't it be that the dream has to do with Daenerys? And the counter-argument to that is, well, it's about a child. It's about him protecting a child. It reminds him that he needs to do that. But, you know, it's still there. And the other counter-argument is, well, what's the point of making Daenerys Rhaegar's child? And, you know, because she's already the last legitimate Targaryen heir, like, according to the presented story. Sorry for all the coughing, my goodness. Didn't expect to have such a dry mouth. Oh, that's better. So yeah, that's A+J+D. It's an idea. Some people think it. I do not hate A+J+D so much. How do you solve lemon? We'll talk about that. But for now, A+J+D, I do not hate it at all. I just don't think that there's too much of a possibility. I'm actually going to put it not so much lower on the love it scale. I really like the idea that, what do I like about it? It's interesting, isn't it? I don't have COVID. Never. I should briefly explain why I don't like this. First of all, it makes Daenerys and Jon siblings, and we know that. I'm pretty sure Germ has said that Daenerys was born 9 months after Jon. So I think people have crunched the numbers and figured there is a way for Lyanna to have had 2 babies in the Tower of Joy, one conceived at Harrenhal, one conceived later on. And you know, it's like, I don't see the point. Because that's the thing I say with these theories, is that there kind of needs to be a point. Goem does put a lot of pointless shit into his books, and that's good. That's good fun. I'm dying on stream. The way that all entertainers want to go out. Dying live on stage. Yeah. I do not like it because I've never seen a compelling point for why I should like it, firstly. And as for its likelihood, I think there's too many hoops. The other thing is that we can't forget that the show does exist. And, like, I know that that's a problem for a lot of people, but there it is. It exists. I'm very sorry to remind you of that. But in the show, 100% A+J+J. And that seems like one of the important things that the writers would have picked up from George. Then again, he's free to change whatever he wants. And I do believe there are lots of things, that he puts in the story. You know, he talks about being a gardener. He plants so many seeds, he can follow up whichever ones, you know, he wants to, or that just naturally arise from the story to be interesting in some way or another. And I think that, let's bring it up. Let's talk about Lemongate. All of the inconsistencies in Daenerys' story, which some people don't think are inconsistencies, I think they are. I think that there's wacky shit going on with Daenerys. She believes a bunch of weird things that don't quite add up. Mainly, the most egregious thing people bring up is that she remembers a lemon tree at the house with the red door that she thinks is in Bravos. And we're told multiple times throughout the story that lemon trees do not grow in Braavos. There you go, I said the line. And this is made a point of several times. And it's true, lemons do not grow there. And people are like, well, what if it was a gift? What if there was a greenhouse at the Sea Lord's palace where there was a lemon tree? And it's like, do you think she would have mentioned the greenhouse? And do you think Arya would have mentioned the greenhouse when she's in Braavos? Or Sam would have mentioned the... We never hear about a greenhouse. At least if we do, it's... The other thing is that the House of the Red Door is supposed to be a simple life, and simple lives don't include the Sea Lord's palace, where he has a menagerie of exotic beasts and all manner of crazy shit going on at his house. It's a simple abode that she remembers. That's the entire point, is that it represents a simple, rustic point of return for her. So when I think that's what pushes me more in the direction of thinking that Daenerys isn't exactly who she thinks she is. That doesn't mean I think that she's the daughter of Rhaegar and Lyanna. I think there's still a possibility for her to be who she is, but just that there's more to her childhood than we've been told. I think that Lemongate is true. Because it is. Throughout the story, we are told multiple times that lemon trees do not grow there, and yet she remembers a lemon tree in a place that she thinks was in Braavos. And that's just... You can't reconcile that. She remembers a lot of things that don't make sense with what else we know about the story. I think that it's... Basically, especially given with how many times she's told to remember who she is and to look back and yeah, I think add all those things up, mix them together, put it in the oven on high for 25 minutes. High isn't the setting on my oven. Anyway, Lemongate. You get Lemongate and you get a t-shirt that has a stupid quote on it. And I like it, and I think it's true. I think it's true that there's more to Daenerys' childhood, and I think it's true that lemons do not grow in Braavos, and that tree must have been elsewhere. Now, so the implication there is like, well, you know, where was the tree? The prime candidates are somewhere in Dawn, and somewhere in the southern Free Cities. I think the ones people bring up mostly are Lys and Tyrosh. And they're all wrong. It's actually on Skagos. So that's Lemongate. And then, hang on, I need to put this back down where I think it goes. Yeah, nice. Okay. I keep doing the thing. Stop doing the thing. Okay, so that's Lemongate. Talked about for too long. Then we get... Okay, here's a prediction. I like these ones because it's just kind of like an idea about what you think's going to happen in the story. And this one is a pretty good one. It's a pretty well-known one as well. Nightlamp. The Stannis battle plan. That he's going to lure the Bolton forces, with Frey forces really, in this upcoming battle onto a frozen lake that they're going to smash the ground in, and it's going to be great, and Stannis is going to win, and he's going to be king, and the story's going to end, and everyone's going to be happy because Stannis, the one true king, actually did it. And like, oh hey man, thanks for dropping in. Yeah, Nightlamp. It's where does this one come from? I know that I'm pretty sure there's a really lengthy Cantus treatise on Nightlamp. I'm not sure if that's where it came from. I think it is though. Yeah, it's great. We love Nightlamp around here. We love Stannis, and we love seeing all the ways he can win. And I think that George is really putting effort into detailing the setup to these battles. Not just the Battle of Ice, but there's also, of course, so much put into what's going on in Meereen, and for things that aren't as important to the story, or at least to the main characters' story. You know, we're also hearing a lot about Storm's End. Like the setup going into the conflict there. Especially when you consider how much setup and time was spent on, you know, the Whispering Wood or the Golden Tooth or something like that. We are now spending so much time getting to know the field of these battles that it seems almost kind of impossible not for there to be something like this going on. So yeah, I think that Nightlamp is basically true. I think that Stannis' plan does... I'm going to put it right up here. We love Nightlamp. Yeah. Yeah, go Nightlamp. But I don't think it's going to go as entirely planned for Stannis. I don't think that everything's going to work out peaches for him. Oh, that's kind of a pun. I didn't even... Okay, so that's Nightlamp. And then... I don't think I received anyone talking about what he's going to do with Theon. Or maybe I did. But yeah, there's this idea that, to appease the Queen's men, Stannis needs to execute Theon, but executing Theon is a really stupid thing to do because he's the heir to the Iron Islands. He needs to trade with Glover, with the Ironborn to receive the Glover hostages. There's just so much going on that killing Theon would kind of ruin. And so doing that isn't something he wants to do. So Theon looks like an old man. Arnulf Karstark looks like an old man. He betrayed Stannis, and I think it was him at least. And fake-out executions are all over the Northern plot. So I think that seems kind of likely. Actually, I'm just going to put that down here. Stannis executes Arnulf. I'm not even going to write the rest of it in. Yeah, it's good, and it seems kind of true. It's harder to be certain about that one than Nightlamp, just because there's less going into it. I think that Stannis executing Theon, that's not how Theon's story ends, but I think that Stannis does need to kill someone. There's no phone or microwave on. I live by a road. That might be what you're hearing. Ooh. Okay, some more parentage. It's time for another big boy. We've got, well, let's tick some boxes first. We've got Aerys plus Joanna is Tyrion. We've all heard it now. Arnulf, have I done it silly? Okay, whoops. So this one is Tyrion Targaryen. This is Tyrion is the son of Aerys and Joanna, and I don't like that. I don't like this one. Yeah. So it still lives on, this theory, which is it's great. I love that people have the energy to believe such things. I don't like it because so I was talking to there's an Old Shift X video coming out soon that I was talking to him about, and he was telling me this in response to my video about Tyrion Targaryen, and he said. No, I don't want to talk about what's going. No, so I don't like it because of what it does to Tyrion's relationship with Tywin, and he pointed out to me that hey, Tywin is still Tyrion's dad, like how Ned is still Jon's dad, right? And Yeah, true. That the things that Tywin truly hates about Tyrion, aside from his deformity, are things that Tywin's doing led to Tyrion doing as well. I went into the timeline of this and he came to a completely different conclusion than I did. But I just do not see how Aerys impregnating Joanna works with the timeline, because Tywin merely threatened to resign and then didn't when Aerys said, no, don't do that. We also don't know very much about this area. Like, the World of Ice and Fire makes a point of Aerys turning Rhaella's ladies-in-waiting into whores, so what's the point of that if there's nothing to it? So I get it. You know what, I'm gonna put, like, I don't think it's no way. I think there's way, but I do hate it. What I hate a lot less is this. A+J+T equals T. Now, I think that this is even less likely, but I like it a lot more. Maybe somewhere up here. Yeah, let's put it there. Okay, and then just for clarity, I'm gonna put T plus just canon. Tywin plus Joanna is Tyrion. So that's the one I think is most true, and it's the one that I like the most as well. So A+J+T equals T is the Chimera theory that Tyrion is a fused. What was it? The heteropaternal superfecundation thing where Aerys impregnated Joanna, Tywin impregnated Joanna, and then those what do you call them? Are they zygotes? No, it's after they're zygotes. I've forgotten. I don't care. I'm not a biologist. Yeah, they fuse together, and that becomes Tyrion, and that's why he's got all this duality to him and such. And that's a lot more fun to me, and I like it. Let's put it up there, actually. Yeah, it's good. But then we've got the real kicker. TwinTargs. We've got Aerys and Joanna is Jaime and Cersei. Now, the timeline elaborates a lot less on what happens around here. So there's a lot less to go on. Which means that it's probably not... It's embryo. That's the... Thanks, everyone. Yep. Cool. Great. Thank you. Yeah, Aerys plus Joanna is Jaime and Cersei. This one... There's not as much about it, which says to me that it's less likely to be relevant. However, let's just delve into what it means. Aerys plus Joanna being Jaime and Cersei works for me in a lot of those. What am I talking about? Like narratively reflective ways that Aerys and Joanna equals Tyrion does for a lot of people. Oh, I should specify that Tyrion riding a dragon is not off the table, and in fact I think is quite likely. And I don't hate it. I think that's fine. Yep. Yep, sure. So I don't think you have to be a Targaryen to be a dragon rider. But we'll talk about that later. Aerys and Joanna and Cersei. So, the Jaime and Cersei. Whoopsie doopsie. I really love the idea that Robert was so hell-bent on getting rid of every Targaryen that he, like every potential threat, heir to the throne or whatever, that he completely failed to miss the three full incest babies running around as his children. I think that's funny. I also look, so people think that Tyrion's fascination with dragons is evidence in favor of him being a Targaryen. I think that I don't think that. I think that dragons are cool and you can like them without being a Targaryen. And that's also true for fire. Fire is fun to look at, but Cersei really likes looking at fire. It's kind of scary, and Targaryens also like looking at fire, so there's that. Then you also get the twincest, with like the craziest thing about the Lannister siblings. Jaime and Cersei do incest all the time, and like I feel like we should talk about this a bit more, guys. It's a bit concerning that they do this. And like, so there's plenty of reasons in the story for how they came to doing that. And a lot of it is Tywin based. But we should not discount that the notion of sibling incest, reproduction, gross, is heavily associated with Targaryens in the story. I think that this is all like connective tissue, circumstantial evidence that holds basically as much water as the Tyrion Targ theory, but I like it a lot more. I'm gonna put it at, like basically here. So yeah, there you go. It also, the thing with Tyrion Targ is people are like, yeah, Tyrion killed Jaime's dad and Jaime killed Tyrion's dad. And it's like, well, hang on. Why not have it so that they killed their own fathers? Isn't that cooler? I think that's cooler. Yeah, there are cars in the background. I live on a racetrack. The Grand Prix qualifiers were last night. It was awful. So yeah. And then a lot of people have this fleeting association with Jaime and Azor Ahai, and I don't think that's as important to me. But yeah, there you go. Some people are like, yeah, man, he can be Aerys and Joanna's son so that he can be Azor Ahai. There you go. Yeah, it also means that Tyrion is Tywin's only child, which I think suits quite well that the child he hates the most, the child that reflects him probably the most clearly. All of his children reflect him, don't get me wrong, that's how being a parent works. But I think that's quite resonant for me in the story. And of course, things being resonant for me doesn't mean that they're likely, it just means that I like them. And that's why this theory is up here. I really like it, but I don't think it's very likely, which is unfortunate. I think the most likely turnout is that they're all Tywins. Unfortunate. I'm sorry. I also quite like Jaime Azor Ahai, but we'll talk about Azor Ahai. Should we talk about that now? Can I be fucked talking about that at this moment? Or are we going to talk about something a little crazier? Oh, you know what? A lot of people submitted this to me. A lot of people submitted... how am I going to write? I'm going to write Littlefinger by Slicer equals Sweetrobin. A lot of people submitted that to me, and I thought that was funny, because this is my first video, like, and I'm pretty... So I think a lot of people just haven't seen that video and don't know my thoughts on this already. I love this theory, and I think it's quite likely. Yep, I'm quite into this one. Yeah. Woo! Yeah, that's the other thing. Again, I talked about earlier how this plotting of theories doesn't take into account the likelihood of them being revealed. I think that most of the things we've talked about probably won't be revealed. Especially the Lannister parentage ones. obviously Nightlamp or Stannis executing Arnulf or Tyrion riding a dragon, that stuff will either happen or not happen. But then all this other stuff is more murky, and I think George does that. Most of the stuff we talk about as theorists will not have definitive answers by the time the series ends, if the series ends. Yeah, and I think we have to be willing to accept that. That even after the series ends, we will still be having these discussions. We'll still be interpreting the story to figure out, well, to see what makes the most sense to us personally. And I think that that's something beautiful about the way Germ writes, is that each of us forms a personal connection with all of these ideas, and then we can engage with each other about, isn't it beautiful how he's bringing together all of these people just by discussing, isn't it wonderful? Thank you so much, George. Write your fucking books. No, so Littlefinger plus Lysa equals Sweetrobin. Lots of people submitted it. I thought that was funny to me. But yeah, let's talk about it. So, I firmly believe that Jon Arryn is sterile. Or at least not fertile. We're really filling up the top right section of the board right there, aren't we? Need to find stuff that goes in the bottom right. What's going on there? Yeah, so you can watch my video on this. It's still an okay video. It's quite old. It's almost 4 years old. Holy crap. Yeah, and I give you all of my thoughts on how this came about. But yes, I think that Sweetrobin's kind of a reflection of Littlefinger. He's weak, frail. Everyone underestimates him. And he's destined to be very powerful. And I think that that's kind of cool, and George does that a lot in like reflecting people's, your children reflecting your own values, which again, I like A+J was J+C, because Cersei goes mad, like the Mad King, and Jaime, like, is who I like Jaime. And then, so Littlefinger, they had a relationship in King's Landing when Sweetrobin was conceived and born, and then when Littlefinger returns to the Eyrie, no, I think it's when they meet at the Fingers at the Drear Fort. Sweetrobin's underestimated. She's like, I want to make another child, and like, okay, is she talking about the aborted fetus from Riverrun like a billion years ago, or is she talking about Sweetrobin? And she's like a brother for Sweetrobin. She doesn't say a half brother for Sweetrobin, so I don't know, but yeah, I like it a lot. You can check out my thoughts on that one. It's a good video, I think. It might have aged poorly. It's been a long time since I've watched it. Yeah, I think that Sweetrobin is underestimated. I think that he's not the useless little boy everyone thinks he is. I mean, he's weak, definitely, like physically, but there's more to him than that. He's kind of Bran-like in that way. There's more to him. He has a weirwood throne, man. I'm just picking the theories out of fucking nowhere here. Wow, that one's really stupid. That one says Rhaegar plus Howland equals Jon. I'm not even going to put that on the board. That's stupid. Of course, we've got Gravedigger. Okay, Gravedigger. Everyone loves Gravedigger. But Sandor Clegane is still alive, and he's the Gravedigger on the Quiet Isle. Well, so the Hound's horse is definitely on the Quiet Isle. And then there's this dude who seems to be like atoning. He's digging graves. The elder brother talks about redemption and how the Hound is dead, but he doesn't mention Sandor Clegane. So there's Gravedigger. A lot of people put this in conjunction with Clegane Ball because they need to explain how they're both still alive so that they can fight each other. I don't really care about Clegane Ball. Like, if it happens, whatever. If it doesn't happen, also fine. Now, you can say that Gravedigger was confirmed by the show, but... kind of. I think it'd be kind of fun if he showed up somewhere completely different. If that was a big old red herring and he's actually... The twist, it turns out he was Lemoncloak the whole time. Not actually that. That's dumb. But... Yeah, I covered... I covered that. We haven't talked about Patchface yet. Oh my goodness, I get to talk about Patchface. Gravedigger, yep, it's pretty good. And it's not canon. People need to stop doing that. People are like, isn't that basically canon? People talk about R+L=J as though it's canon. No, it's show canon, definitely, but it's not book canon. It seems very likely, but it's not canon. That's not what canon means. And so, yeah, I really do like Sandor digging shit up. I think there was someone who pointed out that... do we see the Gravedigger's face? No, I don't think we do. Anyway, Gravedigger, it's fine. I don't know, I'm not too attached to it. I'm quite happy, actually, if we never see Sandor again. But I do like the... In fact, I think Gravedigger is cool if Sandor doesn't come back. I think it's still cool even if he does, but I think it'd be best if that's just the last place we saw him. If he was just, atoning for his sins. He's done with violence. It's done with him. I don't think that's very likely, but I can hope. So Gravedigger, I'm not going to say that it's definitely a thing, but I can't see any real points against it, and I like it. There you go, there's Gravedigger. Alrighty. Ooh. Shall we talk about the pink letter? I think we shall. So we've got the pink letter. We're going to have to go through a lot of things here. So we've got... Brienne being the descendant of Dunk, I think, is canon. I'm pretty sure that is... Like, Goem said, yeah, that's a thing. What beeping are you talking about? I don't hear any beeping. I'll have to check that out on the VOD. Okay, so pink letter. There's no microwave. I don't know what you people are talking about. Okay, so pink letter. We're gonna start with Ramsay. The story as presented is that this letter comes from Ramsay Bolton. Yeah, there are like 30 pink letter theories. We're gonna talk about like 6 of them, I guess. The letter itself isn't pink. It's just sealed with the pink of House Bolton. I'm gonna close chat now. You're very distracting. Yeah, so the pink letter, hang on, I've got one adjustment to make. Excuse me. Stop doing that. There you go, the pink letter. Written by Ramsay. I don't think it was written by Ramsay. I don't think that at all. I think you're being... I think he's messing with you. Yeah, something as... I think it requires more digging into than just accepting that Ramsay did it, because we receive other letters from Ramsay throughout the story, and this doesn't bear much of a resemblance to any of them. So there you go. There's that one. At least, if it is Ramsay, there's something going on. I think needs to be accepted. because of all these weird discrepancies between the pink letter and the other letters we see from him, where the handwriting is completely different. There are no additional signatories. There's no blood or skin attached or anything like that. The usage of the word crow to talk about members of the Night's Watch, that's fucking weird for Ramsay to do. That's a wildling word. So yeah, that's. I don't think it's impossible that Ramsay wrote it. I don't like it. Yeah, I don't think it's impossible. Maybe no, I don't hate it that much. I don't really care too much if Ramsay did it, but I think it's better if someone else did it. Like, could you imagine if we got Winds of Winter and it's like, yep, and everything on the story, everything on the letter is true. Stannis died off screen. Oh man, could you imagine if he did that? Oh god, we'd kill him. Then we have pink letter. Some people think, I don't know. Let's say Asher. Some people think Asher wrote it. This is one like yeah. Some people think this. I dislike this even more, and I don't. It's strange to me. Yeah, I think if Ramsay wrote it, he's lying. In fact, there's not too much to say about each of these. Pink letter, some people think that Barbary Dustin, is it Barbary? Hang on, Barbary Dustin wrote the pink letter, and there's something going on with her, but I don't think she wrote the pink letter. I'll give this slightly higher chances, but I don't like it much more. And then we've got who else wrote it? Some people think Theon wrote it. So this would have to be after the battle that we haven't seen yet. Is everyone hearing these beeps? Or is it just like a few people? I'm so confused. So yeah, some people think that Theon wrote the pink letter, and I just don't see any of these things. You feel like, yeah, I think the likelihood of Ramsay writing it, yeah, it's probably higher than that. Yeah, it can live there, if only so that something can live there. So we've got pink letter Theon. I think it's more likely than Asher doing it, but I don't really care for it that much. No beeps. That's so weird. What the hell's going on here? I'm being gaslit by my own chat. Yeah, we've got some beautiful native bird life around here that you may hear. No sheep that I'm aware of. If there are sheep in here, I'm fucking, they're invisible. But yeah, mostly birds. And I don't have a problem with birds. We love birds around here. Then we've got pink letter. Who else could have written the pink letter? Go on then. Yeah, let's say it's Mance. Fine. We'll talk about Mance writing the pink letter. Yeah, I think it's a lot better. Yeah, See, the thing is, I have to give credence to what's presented in the canon. I have to, just by virtue of it being the thing we're told, I have to say that it's more likely than all of this other stuff. But Mance writing the pink letter, like, it works super well. I'm gonna say, well, they can't both be. Well, actually, they can be equally likely, and I think I'm gonna say that I hope that Mance wrote it. I think that it's better. Stannis? You want me to... Stannis? No, there are no emus around here. Pink letter Stannis. Okay, so some people think that Stannis himself wrote the pink letter, and that it's like part of a personal ploy of his to fake his death. But Mike, it's like... The purpose of the pink letter, what the pink letter does is it leads to Jon Snow's death. It brings him to rise against Ramsay, to declare really stupidly that he personally, the Lord Commander of the Night's Watch, is going to intervene in the affairs of the Seven Kingdoms. This is a big no-no. Big no-no. No, John. I don't... And I think that anyone who sent the pink letter would probably know this, would probably think, yes, this will cause an insurrection at Castle Black. And I don't think that Stannis wants that. I think that... there's this idea that Stannis is gonna fake his own death and like weasel his way into a victory, and like, yeah, sure, but I don't think he would have done this. Oh, you didn't know what letter we were talking about. That must have been super awkward for you. So, yeah, I don't think Stannis wanted the effects of the pink letter. The information in the pink letter, sure, I think, are things that he would want to spread in the case that he wants to fake his own death after this battle. Or even before the battle, I don't fucking know. The pink letter can help Mance by being a point of coordination to Tormund, and by creating chaos at Castle Black. Yeah, I do not see it being Stannis. I really don't. So sorry everyone who has this headcanon that it's this big brain move by Stannis. I think if Stannis did it, it's not that great. Oh yeah, there's a theory that Melisandre did it as well. Okay, we'll talk about that. Hang on, let me say where I want this. I think it's about it's probably more likely than these, but I don't like it. I don't really like these either. Okay, and then there's the Melisandre one. This one's like, what? I think there are basically two likely candidates. I think it was Ramsay or Mance. I think that's basically what it came down to. Melisandre, now why would she... Now, so... Does she want Jon dead so that she can resurrect him? Is that the idea here? Is that... Yeah, Melisandre doesn't reasonably know a bunch of the things mentioned in the letter. So, yeah. I don't think so. Sorry for littering this corner with pink letter theories, but there's so many of them. Hang on. Whoa, I've just moved the entire world. So, yeah, no, I'm just going to put that over here as well. Sorry about that, everyone, but it's just where they've got to go. Okay, so pink letter. Someone submitted here that Sam wrote the pink letter. I'm just going to read out their submission. Hang on. This might be a shitpost. Yep, it's a shitpost. Don't worry about that. Okay. Here's one I prepared earlier. We've got Longclaw is Blackfyre. This is one that's like, it's trying to bring together a few ideas, mainly that they want Jon to have the legitimate Targaryen sword, Like, oh wow, he has the sword, so he must be the true king. Which isn't quite how that works, because Daemon Blackfyre had Blackfyre, and he wasn't the that didn't really work, did it? I'm not gonna put Shireen Pink letter, am I? Because no. So Longclaw being Blackfyre is, I'm gonna hide chat again. I need to stop doing that. Longclaw being Blackfyre is, it seems to me like a bit of a cope. Longclaw has a history. Blackfyre has a history. Those histories don't coincide at all. Bittersteel took Blackfyre across the Narrow Sea, and within all likelihood, it's still somewhere around the Golden Company. Longclaw appeared in House Mormont 500 years ago, apparently. Now, I say apparently because there's no way of confirming this, but that lack of confirmation doesn't mean that it's a different sword, and it being a different sword doesn't mean that it's Blackfyre. I think Blackfyre is probably like no, I don't think it's Blackfyre. How would that work? How would it have gotten there? I'm assuming it would have been J.R. Mormont's father or perhaps grandfather at the time, being in charge of Bear Island. There's this notion that... hang on, let me just rank this. I don't like this, and I don't think there's much of a possibility. I'll give it better than 0 odds, but I do hate it. I think Longclaw being Dark Sister has more to it. I also don't like it. It's better, but I don't like it. And that's because there's this idea that has some water to it, that Bloodraven wanted future... gave it to Aemon so that, a future Targaryen could, basically Bloodraven conspired to give Jon Snow a Valyrian steel sword, but Dark Sister doesn't hold any legitimacy, influencing power like Blackfyre does. So it doesn't mean much. I think that Longclaw is Longclaw, most likely. I like more cool swords in the story. I don't want to have there be fewer of them. I think the Dark Sister is probably in the cave. I think it'd be cool if Mira left with Dark Sister. If they leave the cave. When they leave the cave. I think that'd be pretty dope. This is live. Hello. Longclaw equals ice. That's one of the stupidest ideas. Ice is an ancient ceremonial sword that is huge. And it's definitely Valyrian steel, and no one on Westeros knows how to reforge Valyrian steel. So, yeah, no. Ice is ice. Longclaw is Longclaw. And, Oathkeeper and Widow's Wail. Hang on, am I mixing up my... No, I think it is Widow's Wail. Or is that its name in the show? It's a different name in the books. I know that Joffrey's original sword is Lion's Tooth. And then there's Heart Eater. Is that just a suggestion that's made to him? Man. Gotta read the fucking books. So... Well, now that we're up in the Three-Eyed Crow's cave, let's talk about someone super interesting. We've got Coldhands. What the fuck is going on with Coldhands, hey? So, main theory is Coldhands is Benjen. Benjen Stark. Your boy, Uncle Benno. He's the kind of dead, helpful elk man. And he's not, it turns out. Because George said that he wasn't. Now, George lies to us frequently. A lot of the things he said in interviews have turned out to be bullshit. This happens all the time. However, he wasn't saying this to us. He was saying it to his editor. Coldhands isn't Benjen. It turns out the thing that everyone thought was the most obvious thing isn't true. And also, I don't like it that much. I think it's more fun if he's someone else. Because Benjen, we love Benjen. Bran loves Benjen. But Coldhands is so creepy and so weird and fascinating, and if he was Benjen, it's kind of like, okay. So that's what happened to Benjen. I think the fate of Benjen might be one of those things that we never find out. I also think that the true identity of Coldhands is a thing that we won't find out. Someone submitted to me this wacky theory that he's Daemon Targaryen. And props for creativity. 10 out of 10 for creativity. It's an actual theory. This one wasn't a shitpost. This is a legitimate belief that is still wacky as all get out. But, good on you for thinking of it and trying to make an argument for it. I hate it, and there's no way, but, good on you. No, Daemon Targaryen's dead. You know what tells me that Daemon Targaryen is not in the story that is presented to us? That he's not a part of anything going on, that he's not present for the story. He's not mentioned, I think, once in any of the 5 main novels. Daemon Targaryen is purely a historical figure. You'd think that if George was going to do this epic reveal that Coldhands, this guy who's been helping out our intrepid protagonists north of the wall through the frozen wastelands, it turns out he is actually, dun dun dun, Daemon Targaryen, the rogue prince. And then most readers are like, huh? Who? What? Because most readers haven't obsessed over fire and blood like we have. So that's not anything. I don't think Daemon Targaryen is anywhere. I think Daemon Targaryen fucking died at the God's Eye. If he didn't, he did run off to live with Nettles for the rest of his life. That'd be fun. I think that'd be cute. But no, there's one other Coldhands theory that I would really, really, really like to share with you. I think that this one is fucking dope. We've got Coldhands. Are you ready for this? Equals the Night's King. Now, to clarify, the Night King is a show-only character. The blue dude, Zombie Satan, Officer Freezy Boy. That's the Night King. The Night's King is the 13th Lord Commander of the Night's Watch, who declared himself king, married an other, so goes the story, and he was taken down by the Lord of Winterfell, who I believe was his brother named Bran Stark. So goes the story that we are told. A few times the Night's King is mentioned, I think. So, what the fuck? I don't know how much this one gets around, but man, I fucking love this thing. I love this theory. I think it's awesome. I give it, it's gonna go right up the top. Not too far along to the right, because, there's not too much going on. Like, there's not so much information to draw on here. No, not the Night. Rhaegar is the Night King. Coldhands is the Night's King. So yeah, Coldhands being the Night's King, I think fits perfectly because I believe Leaf tells Bran, or is it Mira, that he's been dead for long, and being a child of the forest, long means something different to Leaf than it does to Bran, right? long for Bran is like the wait between breakfast and lunch. Long for Bran is the bus that didn't show up on time. Long for Leaf is centuries. At least that's my understanding of the Children of the Forest. There's no description of the Night's King, no. But Bran does have a vision of first men. The Night's King is most definitely a first men thing, right? Because the idea is that all of this stuff happened long before the arrival of the Andals. And therefore, there's no iron. It's all bronze, because the first men didn't work with iron. And so you might be thinking, well, hang on. Coldhands is described as wearing, what is it, chainmail? Or is it like ringmail or something like that? But then, Bran has a vision of those first men with their bronze, with their bronze armor and weapons and shit, and he describes mail. He describes, I think, ringmail, something like that. He describes what Coldhands is wearing, basically. So, I love this, that Coldhands is a millennia old artifact of history who may be himself Bran Stark. Like, not our Bran Stark in a time travel kind of way, but like a very ancient Bran Stark. I think there's a quote of... I'm actually going to bring up the... hang on, where is it? Night's King. There's lots of Night's King related theories. Where is it? Hang on, let me look for Coldhands. There we go. Okay. Quick, to someone's Reddit thread. This is, wow, this one's... It's a really old one, but I don't think it's gained much traction. I'm bringing it back, baby. Submitted by someone called Tyrion Targaryen. I mean, it's probably not their actual name. Hang on. I'm not going to read it out to you. You can look it up if you'd like. But yeah, I think it's super awesome, and I think it's my favorite explanation for who Coldhands is that I've come across. So I quite enjoy that one, and I look forward to being told that I'm really stupid for thinking it. So there's that. There's Coldhands is the Night King. That's my surprise idea of the day for you. Now it's time to talk about young Griff. So, who the fuck is young Griff? Let's start off with what Varys tells us. That young Griff is the son of Rhaegar and Elia. Let's just say young Griff. YG for young Griff. If you don't know what I'm talking about, then you haven't read the books. So, well, it's not just Varys who tells us this. It's also, Tyrion. Tyrion pieces it together, and then everyone's like, "Oh, yep, you got us." And then he fucks around with their plans. It's fun. So this is the canon, the presented idea that this dude is actually Aegon Targaryen, Rhaegar and Elia's son, who was supposedly killed in the sack of King's Landing, but apparently, according to this conspiracy of folks, is still alive, and was raised by Illyrio, and is gonna be the king of Westeros and such, because he's great. We've raised him to be great, and no, they're full of shit, aren't they? I don't see it fitting very well with what Germ writes for this poor boy to have actually escaped and lived a life in secret, only to then, rise up and become the king as is in his, to receive his proper inheritance. I think that's not, no. I don't think that's a thing George writes. So I'm not going to put it at no way because, there's still some possibility. I do not like it, though. I would be upset if this was true, except I'm sure... Here's the thing. All of these things I've said I don't like, I'm sure if George wants them to be true, he has a way of doing it. He's like that, isn't he? So that actually, that goes a little higher. I don't hate it that much. So yeah, there's that one, and I think the biggest point in favor of young Griff actually being Rhaegar and Ellie is that Varys tells Kevin Lannister that that's who he is, and he says that to Kevin Lannister just before he kills him. So if he's lying, why would he? Why lie to a dying man? Is the idea, and that's a pretty good point to bring up. There are counter arguments that why tell the truth to a dying man? Why say anything to a dying man? Varys should have just stepped out of the shadows and said, "Oogie boogie boo, I'm a sexy little baby," and then just shot him dead in the between the eyes, and it would have meant just as much as telling him that young Griff is actually Aegon Targaryen, right? So it's something, but it's also kind of nothing. And the other thing is, walls have ears, and Varys knows this. So you gotta be careful what you say, even to a dying man. But there's that. Who else could young Griff be then? So we've got a young Griff Blackfyre. This is probably the most popular theory because it's pretty good. It seems pretty true that this dude we've been told is a Targaryen is actually a Blackfyre. Ooh boy. Yeah. So the idea is that he's like the last Blackfyre who descended through the female line because we're only told that the Blackfyre line was ended in the male line when Barristan killed Maelys the Monstrous. And so yeah, okay, good. And he's gonna conquer the Seven Kingdoms, and the Golden Company will give him the sword Blackfyre to prove his legitimacy. Even though that kind of just proves that he's a Blackfyre and not a Targaryen. And the other thing is that a lot of the people who seem to be supporting a young Griff are historically Blackfyre supporters. So, isn't that weird? So yeah, I like it, and it holds a lot of water. Maybe even over here. Yeah. Okay. Good. Great. Furthermore, some people stipulate that not just young Griff is a Blackfyre, but that Varys is a Blackfyre. Now this one, I don't hate this one either. Let me get it out of the hate quadrant. Let me move hate over here. There you go. Hey, hang on. Whoa, I didn't think I could do that. Okay, Varys Blackfyre. I do not hate it. It seems less likely that we'd ever hear more about it, but I like it. Actually, you know what? That shouldn't factor into it. However likely it is to be revealed, just how likely I think it is to be true. Yeah, Varys Blackfyre. His name ends in Aris, and that's kind of Valyrian-ish. No, I don't think that's a point in its face. I think it's just a name. We know that, the presented story is that he grew up in Essos, so I don't think that really means much. However, he does shave his head, and you got to think, well, why is he doing that then? And, this theory's answer to that is to hide the silver blonde hair, to hide the Valyrian hair, so that, no one pieces together that he's a Blackfyre. Or Valyrian at all, actually. And it also offers an explanation for him being a eunuch even though that's one of those things that doesn't necessarily warrant an explanation. A guy can just be a eunuch. You can't just ask someone why they're a eunuch. But this one's like, well, he was gelded to prevent further procreation of the Blackfyre line. And some people think that the sorcerer who did it was Bloodraven. And, the sorcerer's voice he hears, they think that that's Bloodraven. And I think that's kind of cool. And that, like, even though it's kind of wacky and there's not too much to it, I think it's cool. And it puts it higher up in my regard. I think that's, it's maybe not as likely as young Griff being a Blackfyre. But I do like it. Maybe let's put it over here. And this one maybe up here. Yeah, that's good. That's good. Maybe it's not as certain as something like Jojen pace though, right? Okay. Then, people go a little nuts with this one as well. People think that Varys is young Griff's mother. So people think that Varys isn't actually a eunuch. Varys is a woman. And she's been lowering her voice to pose as a man so that she can infiltrate the court at King's Landing and influence politics. And it's like, okay. Then the thing is, there's nothing to discount this as far as I'm aware. We hear a lot about how feminine Varys is, but that being feminine doesn't mean you're a woman. It's kind of just like I don't like it very much, but at the same time, there's nothing I can do. There's nothing I can really do to say no fucking way. Oh wow, people haven't heard this one. That's great. Varys being young Griff's mother. I can't do anything about it, but I hate it. I think Varys being a eunuch is fine. I don't need for him to actually be a woman who has given birth to this boy. And of course, the other end of this is that Illyrio is the father. So, do all you can to avoid picturing that. So that's that. Then we've got more young Griff shit, and that's the less memey Illyrio. Actually, how am I gonna phrase this? It's the one where young Griff is Illyrio's son by Sarah. Let's just say Sarah Blackfyre. Okay, so this pairs up with young Griff Blackfyre, I like it. Hang on, is that how you spell Sarah, or is it two? Is it ERR? I can't remember. I think that I'm gonna put this basically with Varys Blackfyre. I think they work quite well together, and I like the idea that God, I cannot look at chat, you guys. So this idea is that Varys and Sarah were brother and sister, and Illyrio married Sarah, had a son, and they would like to put that son on the throne now. Okay, so that's that idea. It pairs well with everything else we've got going on. It's not as likely as just young Griff being a Blackfyre they picked up along the way, but it works in conjunction with it quite well. It's emotionally resonant for me, with Illyrio pulling all these strings to put his son on the throne, like the son that he believes is that. We don't hear too much about Sarah, but I mean, she's a woman who's not actually present in the story, so that's par for the course at this point. George doesn't give us too much about the women who aren't actually present in the story, in pretty much every regard, and that's a really good time to bring up Ashara. So some people think that Jon Snow is Ashara Dane's son by Ned Stark, and they No! I don't like it. I don't like it at all. No. In fact, I'm putting this down here. Get it away from me. Can I say that there's no way? I really do not think there's much of a possibility, and also I hate it. So, I think that Ned actually being Jon's father, I hate that, just on the face of it. So there's that. Ashara being Jon's mother, that's not something I hate. That's okay. You can do that if you want, but but Ned actually being his father is no. I think it's actually quite important to both of their stories that Ned is not actually Jon's father. That it's like this noble lie that he's had to tell this kid for his entire life, you know? I think that if you take that away and Ned was actually like not lying about that the whole time, and he was just kind of like not telling him about his mother, and that's really all that he was doing, I think that that's just kind of a lot more shit and not as good. And so there's all this stuff that we know went down at Harrenhal, and mostly stuff that we don't know happened. And people are like, Ned and Ashara fell in love, and then there's also this notion that they eloped somehow, even though I don't see any indication in the text for anything like that. And then Jon is actually not only the legitimate heir to Winterfell, because so the idea is that they got married before Ned and Cat got married. So Ned and Cat's marriage is illegitimate. So Jon is the heir to Winterfell and also the heir to Starfall, which I don't know why people make such a big deal about being the heir to Starfall. It's a place we've never been to, and it's a place that doesn't really get talked about much in the story. People fantasize about it, they idealize it, and I don't think it's that important. I think that the notion of being Sword of the Morning, that's a thing, but being heir to Starfall, I don't see why that's important. And that brings us to Brandon and Ashara being Jon's parents. I hate this a lot less because the whole thing about young Ned is that he's a sad emo boy who's too shy to express his feelings to other people, is the impression that I get. And Brandon, in stark contrast to that, do you see what I did there? Is this brash, shoot first, ask questions later kind of arrogant dude. And I think that it's far more likely that someone like him would have done the deed with old Ashara over there and produced an heir, and then, well, not necessarily an heir. I still think that it's a bastard. I don't think that Ashara got married to either of them. I don't think that any of this is true, actually. But I like this a lot more than Ned being Jon's father. Basically, by that, I give it more likelihood. But it's still not very. No, I still think it's probably most likely that Rhaegar and Lyanna are Jon's parents. Sorry to tell you. And other people think that either of these pairings could have produced Daenerys as well. And basically the same opinions of those ones. Okay, then we've got some more Ashara stuff. This is stuff that I hate a lot less. When I first heard these ideas, I was like, what? What are you talking about? No. That's silly. But then I read into it, and you know what? I think that Howland Reed and Ashara Dane being Mira and Jojen's parents is not the worst theory I've ever heard. So there you go. I'm not. Hang on, we're gonna move that. Don't worry. But yeah. So the idea is that Lyanna Reed is a cope. There is no Lyanna Reed. It's Ashara Dane. She eloped with Howland. They ran off together, and it's kind of a Princess and the Frog type deal where she's a beautiful Dornish beauty. She's so beautiful that it worked its way into her description twice, and that he's a little frogman who can't stand up straight and has trouble breathing properly. I'm making all of this up, but in fact, all of this is made up. That's what fiction is. But the idea is that they then went on and, had some babies, and that's Mira and Jojen. And that's why when Mira and Jojen tell the story of Harrenhal to Bran, which he hadn't heard before, by the way, they focus so much on Howland and Ashara. I don't know. That's something that some people pick up on. I'm not entirely sold on it. But it's the one of these Ashara theories that fits with the with like the canon. It's not canon. Stop saying that. That fits with this accepted idea that Rhaegar and Lyanna are Jon's parents. So I don't think it's unlikely. I think it's a good explanation for where she wound up. A lot of people think that there's a much better explanation for where Ashara went, but I think that that's an okay one. I'm not too happy with it. I'm going to put it quite close to the center, honestly, because as far as people not being who they actually are theories kind of go, it's not that silly. So you kind of have to reconcile this with Ashara committing suicide, and yep, fair enough. That is a bit of an obstacle to the theory. But the theory so goes that that didn't actually happen. So actually, you know what? On reflecting that, I can't in all conscience put it in that quadrant. It's gonna have to go kind of over here. Just because of the logistics of like figuring out how House Dane is gonna play along with that. And that's the thing about all these Dane theories, is that we just don't know enough about them to make any claims about, oh, well, they did this because they wanted to preserve this relationship. They wanted to and Mira's gonna inherit Dawn. And it's like, huh? Huh? Yeah, so that's Ashara Dane, except that's not all of Ashara Dane, because some people think that Ashara is Shiera, it is Quaithe. Sorry, I was getting ahead of myself. So I guess I'll put that one that one on the board. Also, we've got Shiera is Quaithe. So let's talk about these. Who the fuck is Quaithe? Good question. I can tell you right now that I'm more fond of Shiera being Quaithe than Ashara being Quaithe. I think, unfortunately, it's most likely that Ashara is another one of those off-screen women who is beautiful and then dies. So yeah, I don't think that it's Ashara. Some people think that Ashara is Daenerys' mother, runs away to become Quaithe and helps her out later on, and that's the idea behind that one. And I don't hate it. I'm quite neutral on it, actually. I just don't think it's very likely. I think it's more likely than that, so let's put that over there. Let's do it like that. Okay, but Shiera Seastar being Quaithe. Now that's a theory. That's one you can cut your teeth on, because Shiera and Bloodraven are like, they're a couple, man. They come as a package. They're a pair. You got Bloodraven, you got Shiera. So, Bloodraven is a spooky tree wizard in the frozen wastelands who's helping out our northern hero, Bran Stark. And then you got Shiera, a beautiful gem living in the tropical paradise. Okay, it's not a tropical paradise. But yeah, living in the heat of Qarth, helping out our fiery hero, Daenerys. So, I don't give too much credence to, like, mirroring being, you know, evidence for theories. But it's not nothing. And I think that Bloodraven extending his life to become the Three-Eyed Crow and Shiera extending her life somehow to become Quaithe, you know, they're basically equivalent ideas. If we're willing to accept that Bloodraven is the Three-Eyed Crow, which is canon, please ignore what past Glimbos said. Bloodraven being the Three-Eyed Crow is not canon. It's what's, like, presented implicitly, but then when Bran shows up at the cave, it's pretty... It seems pretty likely that Bloodraven is not the Three-Eyed Crow. This doesn't discount what I've been talking about, though. It's just that I was wrong to say that that's canon. The point is that Bloodraven became a spooky tree wizard who's still alive 100 years later. Then I think that we can't immediately discount the idea that Shiera Seastar is Quaithe. I quite like this, and I think that it has merit and likelihood to it. Let's place it around here. Shiera Seastar, ladies and gentlemen, it turns out she's a person. There's another crazy idea about who Shiera Seastar is, and it's crazy. Let me tell you that, but I kind of love it. And that is that Shiera, are you holding on to something, is Old Nan. And so the idea here is that they both went north to you know, chase out this prophecy or whatever. Like Shiera followed Bloodraven when he was sent to the Wall and lived like in you know, probably Winterfell then if she's gonna become Old Nan. And the idea is that Bloodraven foresaw that they would be needing to help a hero called Brandon Stark, and so Shiera installed herself, you know, became a wet nurse in Winterfell or whatever, and then, because they expected a Bran Stark to be coming along, and then because there's always a Bran Stark, there's always Bran Starks going around. But it so happened that the Bran Stark that Shiera installed herself in Winterfell to be a wet nurse for was the wrong Bran Stark. They were too early. They were a generation or two or three too early. So, then when the actual Bran of our story comes along, that's why, like, all of these crazy stories she tells him, which all seem to be pretty legitimate, she's helping him out. She's training him. She's like the initial trainer for she's the initiator for Bloodraven's training. It's fucking wacky, but it's awesome as well. So yeah, I love that one. And then there's this also this. She says to never trust crows, and the Reddit thread I read concerning this theory pointed out that could be her bitterness towards Bloodraven for being wrong about how long she would have to wait at Winterfell. So there's that. Shiera Seastar being Old Nan is one of those just crazy theories that the more you think about, it's like, well, hang on. Maybe. I don't see it as being as likely as Quaithe by a long shot. I'm going to put it over here. I like it. I like it a lot. It's probably more likely than that, to be honest. Okay, there we go. Let's put it there. Actually, no. The way I've been raving about it, it belongs up here. And let me put this one up here, actually. There we go. Somehow I forgot to mention the implication that Hodor would therefore be a descendant of Bloodraven. So just add that to your consideration of this theory. Oh boy. Oh, I forgot about these theories. Here we go. Alright, everyone. You ready? We've got Mance Raider is Rhaegar Targaryen. Now, no. He's not. I hate it and no. And the main reason for that is, first of all, Mance Raider has an established history. He's been in the Night's Watch for ages, and then defected to before becoming King Beyond the Wall. Like, he's not just this wildling that came out of nowhere. Corran Halfhand knew him, but then there's but wait. You think Corran Halfhand knowing him is a counter argument? Well, no, he's actually Arthur Dayne. So of course he would lie about no. Stop. Don't do this to yourself. There's nothing going on here. Mance is a father figure to Jon. Yeah. But also, Rhaegar Targaryen is fucking dead. Arthur Dayne is fucking dead. No. Stop doing this. And then I think there's some theory that works Gerald Hightower in as well. Hang on, let me look into it. Hang on, what is it? So this one says that Mance Raider is Arthur Dayne, Tormund is Gerald Hightower, and the half hand is Oswald Went. It's Oswald, by the way. No! Stop doing this! These people... Why do you want fewer characters in the story? Okay, no, that's enough hyperbole for that. But no, I don't think any of this is true. And let me just hang on. I'm gonna characterize all of this actually. Well, sorry, I'm breaking Photoshop all of a sudden. Instead of all that, I'm just gonna write Kingsguard at the wall. Actually, beyond the wall. So that's bringing up all of these ideas that the Kingsguard from the Tower of Joy live. All went up there for some reason. You'd think that if these people made it, like, were at the wall ever, we'd have heard about them. And then if they were beyond the... Like, it's commonly accepted that these people are dead. Robert killed... Like, he knows that was Rhaegar he killed. I don't think that there's room in the story for Rhaegar to not be dead. And I think that's probably the biggest obstacle here. The second biggest, of course, is that Mance isn't nobody. He was somebody before he became the King Beyond the Wall. As was Tormund. As was, I mean, Corran Halfhand. There's a bit of history there. Yeah, no, these are all just people. You don't need to make them Kingsguard or Targaryens or anything like that. You don't. There's no. It's okay. You don't need to do this. All right, calm down. They're all just. They're all who they are. Okay. I'm sorry. Thank you. Okay, so then we've got who else am I gonna? What are we gonna talk about now? There's a lot of theories in here that I haven't touched yet. I'm just, let's go back to the top of the list and just start going down. So we've got, this one's fun. We've got Storm's End is a nuclear plant. So this one kind of ties in with the Preston-y, Jacoby kind of idea that A Song of Ice and Fire is post-apocalyptic science fiction, where a bunch of these structures that we run into are hyper-advanced technological wonders that have been lost to time, and so on and so forth. And, well, I guess I kind of have to address that bigger idea first. So, A Song of Ice and Fire... Actually, let's do it all caps. It looks better in all caps. A Song of Ice and Fire is, shall we say post-apocalyptic? Yeah, let's say post-apocalyptic. Apocalyptic. You got to sound it out, kids. That doesn't need to be a capital. Okay, there we go. A Song of Ice and Fire is post-apocalyptic. Now, what do I think of that? It's a pretty big idea that has a lot of implications. It'd be pretty unfair of me to dismiss it outright, and that's why I'm not going to, because I don't think it's instantly dismissible. I think that there's lots of weird shit going on in this world. And I think that this explanation is not a terrible one. A Song of Ice and Fire being post-apocalyptic. It's a big one to crunch on. I'll think about it as I sip from my bottle of water. Lemongate is not more likely than Jojen paste. That's not... Oh, hang on. Yes, I have put it there. Oh, okay, sorry. So the explanation for that was, it's not like... Well, yes, it is actually, because lemon trees do not grow in Bravos, and that's made a point of several times throughout the story. Regardless of the implications of it, yes, Lemongate is definitely true. I'm not going to say it's canon, because... if it's canon, we're not going to talk about this. Okay, Storm's End is a nuclear... okay, back to the post-apocalyptic thing. Do I think that it... I'm not going to... Something I really like about Preston Jacobs is that whenever he says an idea, he says, yeah, maybe not though, right? It's all just him... analyzing the story and giving his best shot at, a lot of the times, just giving a fun explanation for why he thinks all these things are strange. And I think that's great. And I'm going to basically... I really don't hate the idea. I think it's a good idea. In fact, the story presented to us is that there was an apocalypse. The Long Night was an apocalypse, and humanity lived through it, and we're living after it. So the story we're being told is post-apocalyptic. That much is true. That's canon, actually. So, there's that. It's not even really a word game I'm playing there. It's just true. There was an apocalypse, and we're after it. That's what post-apocalyptic means. So there's that. But generally, when people say this, is that they mean that there was a more advanced civilization that was destroyed by an apocalypse, and we're living after that fall. And that also seems pretty true, because look at the Eyrie, look at Storm's End. Look at the Wall. Look at Casterly Rock. There is no way that these things could have been built by a society that is exactly the same as the one that we see in the story. The society we see in the story produces places like the Red Keep. It produces places like the Twins. It produces places like, I don't know, is Highgarden that remarkable? It's big. But... these things are wondrous. They're incredible. Storm's End uses engineering that is kind of, in our own society, pretty remarkable. So, there's something here. A lot of people explain this like, yeah, well, they used magic to make those things. Specifically, the wall is what that's... And, like, yeah, sure, of course. That's a thing. But that still falls in line with a society using techniques that have been lost to time, probably due to an apocalypse. And yeah, there's an interpretation that there is no magic in this story. That's its own thing. In fact, I don't think anyone actually submitted that, which is interesting. So I'm gonna say yes, A Song of Ice and Fire is post-apocalyptic. It's true. Now, as for the idea that Storm's End is a nuclear plant, it has the smooth construction of one, I suppose. Is there anything more to this one? No, it just says it looks like one with one big thick tower, and no, I think it's a castle. And I don't like it that much either. I think it nah. So there's that one. So there we go. There are a few ways you can interpret the term post-apocalyptic, but I think under this, through what I've described, placing it as definitely is probably right of me to do. Who's next? Aha, a favorite of mine. Tyrek. I don't know. We've just gone from something so broad and all-encompassing and like world-affecting as everything's post-apocalyptic. There was an ancient society that constructed all of these wondrous buildings, and everything we know is an elaborate and it's like, okay, Tyrek, you know Tyrek Lannister? Yeah, he's a horse. So, a few people are horses, it turns out. So, some people obsess over what happened to this kid, this poor kid, Tyrek Lannister. Some people are like, oh, Petyr has him. Other people are like, well, Varys has him. And, of course, the greatest interpretation of this, submitted by someone who I deeply cherish, is that Tyrek is a horse because in A Clash of Kings, I think it's A Clash of Kings, it is written Tyrek was last seen a horse when the press of mob broke the line of gold cloaks. So it says right there that Tyrek was a horse. So that's definitely true. Tyrek is a horse. I think it's likely that someone's probably named a horse Tyrek at some point in time, and I'm terribly sorry to do this, but I generally for people to become animals, there needs to I expect some kind of magical impetus. So as compelling as this theory is, we love it, of course. I can't in all conscience put it anywhere other than there. I'm so sorry. Now, we have Drogo is a horse. Actually, you know what? This theory is not complete without the hashtag. Drogo is a horse. Someone's already made the connection. Yeah, Tyrek is Drogo. They're both the same horse. So this is my my patented blood magic theory that Miri was fucking around with souls and took the horse soul and put it in the Drogo body, and that's why the Drogo body can't do anything. And yep. I think I like this, and I think it's true, and that's why I said it in those videos all those years ago. How did Stannis know where the wildlings were? He arrived at Eastwatch. Drogo is a horse. I like it, obviously. Now, I'm not going to say that it's definitely true. That'd be pretty silly of me. But yeah, I do enjoy me a Drogo as a horse. And I guess implied in all of this is my ideas about Miri fuckling around with all of those souls and bringing up the king soul into the dragon eggs. I should probably put that elsewhere, but maybe we'll talk about that some other time. No one submitted it. I don't know. Yeah, Drogo's a horse. We like Drogo as a horse around here. If a theory has been submitted and it is a legitimate theory, it will be discussed. Do not worry. Maybe not today. We've done Shiera Seastar's Quaithe. Okay, here we go. We've got the Northern Conspiracy. Grand Northern Conspiracy. Ooh. Okay, so there's this idea that a bunch of northern houses are like not loyal to the Boltons and not playing along with their rule over the North. Crazy. Yeah, so I think it's basically a given that there's some northern conspiracy going on. We basically already know that nobody likes the Boltons and a bunch of people are planning stuff against them. But this idea posits that they're all working together to bring about a new Stark regime of the North. And that I don't see as being very likely. Because people working together to achieve a common goal is not a very common theme across the story. People working against each other, even when their interests should be aligned, now that's something that occurs a lot in the story. And I think that that's what's going on here. I don't think there's one grand northern conspiracy. I think there's a few. I think there's a few lesser northern conspiracies to, for everyone to get what they personally want. So I'm going to change this to conspiracies and say, yeah, there's definitely something going on there. There absolutely is. Like, I don't see any possible way where none of these people are trying to do anything. I don't think that that's a thing. So, yeah, there's a grand northern conspiracy going on. Well, I don't know if I could call it grand. I think I'd have to call it, it's definitely not unified. This is messy. This is George we're talking about. This is the state of the North at the end of A Dance with Dragons is nuts. It's completely whack. So to posit that there's some unified conspiracy of northern houses to accomplish anything is kind of, I want to say, naive. But it could be true that there's like, I think that there is a common goal of getting rid of the Boltons. Okay, and then from there, everyone's interests split as you get deeper into the minutiae. Yeah, it's a good one. It's Grand Northern Conspiracies. Yep. There's definitely something, and I like that there's something. Now, I think when people say Grand Northern Conspiracy, a lot of people mean something quite specific, and a lot of people don't mean something specific at all. So I can't really work with like, there's so many fucking different ideas around here. Oh yeah, we can talk about Frey pies. That happened. I'm pretty sure that happened. I think it's quite likely that happened. Now, I haven't put it up on the likey bit because here's the thing. It's quite stupid to do that. Now, I shouldn't put it up here. It's a good beat for the story. It's a very Gurmy thing to do. It fits perfectly, and what I don't like is that Manderley did it. I think it'd be smarter to not do it. So yeah, that's what I'm talking about here. Maybe I should just put it next to Gravedigger. Yeah. Yeah, there you go. Okay. Good times. Oh, now that's one we can talk about. We've got Melisandre, you know, the sexy red lady. Wait, hang on. Let's do it like this. Bloodraven plus Shiera Seastar is Melisandre. Let's get rid of the spaces because they'll just take up too much space. Okay, so this one is cannibalism's not okay, it turns out. Bloodraven and Shiera Seastar is Melisandre. I don't really like this. And I don't really have a reason. There's nothing really against it. I think all we know about Melisandre is that she's older than she looks, but that doesn't mean that she's too old for that she's too old to be Bloodraven or Shiera's daughter. But like Melanie Lot 7, yeah, Ahai, yeah, I don't quite see it fitting. And also, when you examine her purpose, she's been helping Stannis, but I guess in turn that didn't end up helping Jon. Because when people suggest this, it's like an idea that she's a thrall of Bloodraven that's been like planted to accomplish things that he wants. And, you know, yeah, I think it's more fun if she's just acting on what she, as her own person, perceives to be the word of God. I think that that's more fun. Then again, a lot of people say that Bloodraven is what a lot of people perceive to be the word of God. So, you know, there's something here. I'm just not particularly fond of it. I can't really dismiss it one way or the other, based on any evidence or lack thereof. I mean, the lack thereof speaks for itself, but there's also nothing pointing me in a different direction to explain where Melisandre came from. I think she's just a person. You know, sometimes people become religious zealots. That's just that. Not everyone, it turns out, is being mind controlled by their secret daddy. I don't know. Yeah, I'm not a fan of it, and I don't see it being very likely. I'm not going to put it all the way in the corner. In fact, it can go maybe around here. I definitely hate it less than Mance equals Rhaegar and all that. In fact, I wish I could put that lower, but there's other theories I dislike. In fact, I think I hate that more than Tyrion Targ. Yeah, let's put that there. Okay, so that means I can put that there. All right, very good. Okay, so, oh, and then someone also submitted an interpretation that Melisandre is the bleeding star. Hang on, do I need to? People just send me links to forum posts, and it's like I don't have the time for all that. The red star of the Azor Ahai prophecy. Okay, I think it's time to talk about Azor Ahai and prophecy and all that shit. You know, let's do it. Now, this is going to be really difficult to put on the board because it's quite complicated. And there's a lot of moving parts here, but let's see what we can do. A lot of people submitted Jon is Azor Ahai, Daenerys is Azor Ahai, Jaime is Azor Ahai, you know, prince that was promised. This person is the bleeding star. This sword is Lightbringer. And I think that most of them are true. I think most of them are right in some capacity. Because, here's the thing. Prophecy is kind of bullshit. You hear a prophecy, Marwyn tells it best. He like prophecies. It's kind of bullshit. Yeah, I don't think that there's any one Azor Ahai. I don't think that there's one Lightbringer. I don't think there's one hero. I think that 3 heads of the dragon may occur several times in the story. I think that this prince that was promised idea can be ticked by those boxes can be ticked by a lot of different situations. I think you're all right, and by that I also mean that you're all wrong. I think that all of this is all true and also bullshit. Am I making any sense? People debate over, okay, so Stannis fits all of these criteria, and Jon fits all of these criteria, and Daenerys fits all of these, so which one of them is Azor Ahai? And the answer is, they all are. Maybe Stannis is a bit more complicated than that. I think it's all a bit more complicated than that, and I think that's the point. I think the point is that prophecy influences people the way that any information influences people. I don't think that there is any genuine foretelling of the future. I think it's forces trying to manipulate people into seeing things they want to happen. Yeah, it's an archetype. It's an in-story archetype. It's not just like in our world, this idea of a hero that saves things. It's come from a special place, and they're gonna ride on a unicorn or slide down a rainbow, playing an electric guitar, and then David Bowie's gonna come back to life and kiss them on the lips. And it's like, well, no, it's an in-world archetype of the last hero, Azor Ahai, the prince that was promised. It's it's all there. So I think that any of these, all of you that submitted, Jon is Azor Ahai, Daenerys is Azor Ahai, you're right. You're also wrong. That's how I think. That's what I make of all of this. Now, what I've done here, I've put an opinion on there and not really a theory. Can I repeat everything you just joined? No. So people who have joined late may see Lemongate in the top right and think, now what's going on here? It's more complicated than that, believe me. So I'm not entirely sure what to put for all the stuff I just said. Everyone is Azor Ahai. You get to be Azor Ahai. Look under your seats. How do I phrase that? This one says Heartsbane is Lightbringer, and just as I said, all of these swords being Lightbringer. Yep, sure, could be. I think we'll see, as the story winds up, we'll see a lot of ideas that, situations that can fit the Azor Ahai Nissa no scope 360 Lightbringer headshot. Yeah, Heartsbane could be Lightbringer, Longclaw could be Lightbringer, Blackfyre could be the Valyrian Steel Dagger could be Lightbringer, the Night's Watch could be Lightbringer, the Dragons could be Lightbringer. I think all of these things may be Lightbringer. And by maybe, I don't mean, ooh, there's a chance. I mean, in world, there is a way to argue that any of these things are Lightbringer. I'm not saying that, well, this might end up being the thing that the prophecy is talking about. I mean, there is a way to interpret. There is a, whoa, what was that? There is a not bullshit way of interpreting that these things are each Lightbringer. You know, that all of these people are each Azor Ahai. I think I've talked about this one enough. However, I must stipulate that of all of the people who can be Azor Ahai, it is Hot Pie. Okay, so our next one here is that Jeyne was never pregnant. This is Jeyne Westerling we're talking about here. Not Jeyne Poole. Jeyne Poole, as far as we know, was never pregnant, but yeah, so this one, I believe this one integrates Sibel Spicer working with Tywin to prevent Robb from producing an heir. I think that's the idea here. Yeah, so some people think that Jeyne Westerling is pregnant with Robb's heir. Other people think that she was and now isn't. Other people think that she never was. And I guess this is that third camp. But it's also paired with she's not pregnant because of deception rather than she's not pregnant because sometimes you don't get pregnant. So yeah, there you go. So Sibel Spicer does say, yeah, nah, she's not pregnant, and I did something about that. So that's she's definitely said that. She could be full of shit though. She doesn't seem like she is though. So yeah, probably. Unfortunately, I would like to see a little Robb running around. I like Robb, and him having a son would be cute, but also, we are told by someone who I don't think we have any reason to doubt that she did everything in her power to prevent that from happening. So, and then we have people saying that Jeyne is 100% pregnant. I don't know what it would be like to be 75% pregnant, but I'm not entirely interested in finding out what that would look like. So, Sibel tells us that she did that, but is she full of shit? Or did she fail? Also, how long ago did Robb die? It was before the year 300. Not too long before, though. And then the story at the end of A Dance with Dragons in the Riverlands, is there still room? I believe there is still room. But you would definitely see if she was pregnant by this point, right? Yeah. Nah, I don't think we'll see a Robb heir. Now, never pregnant, I'm not entirely sold on. I think that there's a chance she was and Sibel intervened with an ongoing pregnancy. But either way, I'm not, I don't really love it or hate it. I think it's just a thing. I'm definitely less enthusiastic about it than Gerion being the Shrouded Lord, so let's put it maybe down here. I don't really care. I don't hate it. But I don't really give a crap. We've got... Oh, now this is a good one. We all like talking about the others. Others aren't evil. And this one is that they're misunderstood. They're not the bad guys. The story will end with a white peace. A lot of people sent this in as a prediction that there will be a white peace between the others and humanity. And by the way, I'm just typing new theories in over here because it's the biggest blank space we have. The biggest, blankest space. Yeah, so, yes. Yes. I love it. I don't think the others are evil. Now, I think there is slight room in the story for the others to actually be evil, monstrous ice demons. I think that's an extremely slim chance. But, they are nasty. They kill people. And that doesn't mean they're evil. Because, animals kill people, and animals aren't evil. Evil requires a framework of morality to make a judgment on that kind of thing. But I believe my belief is that the others are sentient enough to have morality, and that killing people is probably necessary to, see their fucking species survival. I don't know. But yeah, I think that... So they're probably not good. I think they're probably like humans, in that they do evil things when they think they have to. And they probably do have to at this point, is what I'm getting at. So, yeah, I like that. Others aren't evil. That seems pretty true to me. That, it's way more complicated than they're just being these spooky ice monsters who hide under your bed and eat your feet when you're sleeping and put them back on before you wake up. Ooh, that'd be dastardly, wouldn't it? Yeah, so I buy into the idea that the Others is an ironic name, that it's George playing with the idea of otherizing groups that you're not a part of, and demonizing them, literally, and perceiving them to be monstrous when really they aren't. I think that's what's going on here. We have another idea that at first glance looked related to me, but actually wasn't. So this is that the Others are very evil. So I don't know where this idea came from. I'm not sure how to summarize this one. Let's say White Walker feast. It's kind of like a prediction, isn't it? White Walker feast. No, I don't. Others. No, I don't think being super evil is a part of this theory. I think it's just another like notion of fucked up survival, I guess. So the idea is that the ruler of the Others, who I guess we're calling the Great Other, is an ancient creature whose goal it is to sustain its own life indefinitely by feasting on the souls of men. Okay, so the idea is that every person that an Other kills, and maybe whites as well, gets consumed by the Great Other, making the person a husk of what they are. And maybe that's how they become whites, is that their soul is drained by this Great Other thing. Yeah, that's interesting. I think it's from some... Reading is so much fun. Okay, so the conceptual idea here is that humanity has to band together to defeat whoops, that's Discord, to defeat a force that is ultimately selfish and consuming. I think I've got that right. Selfish and manipulative. Okay. And that's in contrast to the show where the Night King is like the least involved antagonist imaginable. So I think, yeah, I think Others are very evil is a good way of summarizing that in the end. So what do I think of it though? I don't hate it. I think it's kind of cool, but also I think that the evil that George poses against humanity is the evil that humanity possesses itself. I don't think that he has to invent some supernatural, godlike magic-y evil for humanity to have to band against. I think that, the forces of evil that we have to overcome are within ourselves. I think that that's what George is all about. So this idea is cool, but I don't think it fits with the story we're being told. So I will have to put it down here. But know that it's not because I don't like the idea. I think that that's cool, but I don't think it fits. Yeah, okay. Well, that's really stupid. This person suggested that there was a Joffrey Daenerys switch. They were switched at birth, and we know this because Joffrey is blonde and likes to cause chaos. And we never see Joffrey take fire damage. Aerys's dying wish to Jaime is that he rescue his children. So Jaime went to Dragonstone following the sack and took in a young Joffrey as his own, who you assume like Rhaegar must have just given birth to. But the issue here, of course, is that Joffrey is much younger. Isn't Joffrey like 2 years younger? That's funny though. It's good. Okay, so this one's cool. We've got much like how Beric is a champion of R'hllor, Davos is a champion of the faith. And we don't mean this in like the trial by combat sense of champion, where he's gonna fight against someone in particular about the faith of the faith. It's just like, you know, living life as a champion of faith. And the thing is, this is really interesting because Davos doesn't present himself as an extremely pious man or a very faithful. He's not obsessed with the gods. He doesn't. I mean, you know, he thinks about them probably more than most other POVs, but he's not obsessed with them. He's you know, he doesn't live his life constantly thinking about what would please the gods most or how best to live a, you know, be virtuous and so on. He's more pragmatic than that. And the reason I like this is that that's kind of that might be the point. That might be what George is getting at about this kind of religion, where it's not about fighting for the gods, it's about fighting for... Oh, what the fuck am I trying to say? So, Beric defends... What does Beric do? He's the cool dude who has an eye patch in the show. He doesn't have an eye... Does he have an eye patch in the book? I know that like he does get stabbed in the eye, but I don't remember. I don't think he does have an eye patch. Yeah, so the reason I think this is cool is that he doesn't think that he's a champion of the faith. He just lives the life. He does what he thinks is right, doesn't he, Davos? I think that's basically it. That might be the point. The thing is, I don't think that Davos' story is all too interested in talking about the faith. I guess you could say it makes a point of contrasting a bunch of religions, and there's a point about deifying political figures in Stannis. But I don't think there's too much here. I think it's cool, but there's just not very much going on here, I don't think. It's not bad. Maybe I just don't get it. I just don't get it, man. Okay, so this is a reference. It's not really a theory or a prediction or interpretation. It's kind of like just an observation between Howland Reed and Howl's Moving Castle. So yeah, Howland Reed has a moving castle, and his name is Howland Reed, and that seems like George is doing a thing where you know, he's like, oh, it's Howl, it's a moving castle. How about that? Yeah, so I think that's a cute little reference. I don't think it has much bearing on the story. And this person has their theory is that he literally is the same character. That Howland Reed is literally the same person from the movie, Howl's Moving Castle. No, I don't think so, unfortunately. I think that'd be cute. But nah. How am I gonna write this? Howland Reed equals Howl. Let's just say that. It's cute. I kind of like it. But nah. I'm not gonna say no way. I mean, it's all in George's head. If he comes out and says, yeah, Howland Reed is literally Howl from Howl's Moving Castle. I don't know if it'd be about I haven't read the book. I don't know if there's much difference between the book and the movie. I didn't know there was a book, to be honest. So, yeah. That one looks big. I'm getting hungry. We might have to stop soon. How long have we been going? 2 hours 40. I wonder if I can hold on 20 minutes. Pull off the full 3 hours. That'd be pretty bonzerific. You know what? It's hydration time. While I look for the next theory we want to talk about. Oh, we missed a pink letter. Pink letter. Germ wrote the pink letter. This is true, but I hate it. Okay, there we go. That's stupid. You guys are stupid, submitting all kinds of silly little theories like that. Okay. Let's go with a production theory. Some people submitted ideas about, the actual real world publishing of the books and the process of writing them and ideas about what Germ is doing. And some of them are really stupid, but some of them, have water. And this one's really funny, and I wanted to laugh at it. This one is The Winds of Winter and A Dream of Spring at the same time. Like, published on the same day. And this is... Huh? I beg your pardon? Yeah, don't be silly. No. This would never happen. I don't see... Now, George has lied to us before. But I don't think he would lie about... I mean, I guess there's nothing to suggest that he wouldn't lie about still working on The Winds of Winter. But I trust him too much, I think. Yeah, it seems it's quite the cope, isn't it? Luckily, they submitted it with oh no, they had a confidence of 5 out of 5. So there you go. Man, so many people just submitted Lemongate. It's like, give me more than that, man. Oh, this one. Okay, here's one that some people actually legitimately believe. Jon isn't dead. It's Tormund. So some people think that the Jon that died at the Jon that died at the end of A Dance with Dragons wasn't actually Jon Snow. It was Tormund, glamoured by Melisandre. I think the idea is, and that's it might not be the stupidest thing I've ever heard, but it's close. Yeah, no, Jon Snow died. He's dead. Or at least dying at the as of the end of his last chapter. And the reason we know that is that the chapter is from his point of view, and and it's continuous from before the mutiny to during the mutiny to the aftermath of the mutiny where he's dying. And there's nothing in there that suggests that he's been replaced by a glamoured Tormund. And also he thinks, sticking with the pointy end, he says ghost. That's Jon. this is really stupid. Do people actually think this? No fucking way. And also I hate it, but because could you imagine if the Winds of Winter began and it turned out that it was Tormund? How do people think that would be good? I don't know, man. People are so weird with their crazy ideas about who did what. So yeah, that's that one. Okay, so we've got yes, Theon Kinslayer. This is the idea that the Miller's boys that Theon killed in place of Bran and Rickon are his children, or at least one of them is his child. And he says that he'd been boning the Miller's wife, and then I know that it's 2 boys that he killed, and you'd probably dwell on that a little, like, regardless of their relation to you. You'd probably dwell on that a little bit, but he thinks about it a lot, and then he's called a Kinslayer. Was it the hooded man that called him the Kinslayer? Hang on, let me just make sure I'm right about that. Because I don't want to say that and be wrong. I'm fine with being wrong about most things, but not this. Hang on, let me just check the word Kinslayer in Theon chapters from A Dance with Dragons. Okay, so 2 people call him a Kinslayer in A Dance with Dragons, at least from what I just saw. One being the hooded man, the other one being, I think it's Rowan, the spear wife. And in the case of Rowan, Theon's like, I'm not a Kinslayer. And then Rowan says, yeah, I know the Starks aren't brothers to you. So she like knows that that's what he thinks she's talking about. But she still seems rather, sold on the idea that he is a Kinslayer. And then the hooded man, a lot of people think that the hooded man is... I didn't actually get many hooded man theories either. A lot of people think that the hooded man is a projection of Theon's subconscious. And so that would be Theon telling himself that he's a Kinslayer. So there's that. And beyond that, I think it's just pretty gurm for a dude to accidentally kill his own son. He just chucks that in his stories every so often as a treat. I think this is pretty likely, and I like... it's... Either way, really, I like it. Let's put it here. I can't say that it's definite, because... there's... Maybe I should, because he says he was... Whoa! He says he was boning them, and then he's called a Kinslayer later on. And it's like, well, why else would those things happen? Especially, Rowan knows that the Starks aren't brothers to him, so, what's going on there? Yeah, Theon Kinslayer. Dude killed his own son. Fucked up. Okay, so we've got... Aha! Ooh! How did this one slip by me for so long? We've got Oberyn poisoned Tywin. Of course. Very, very popular theory. So the idea here is that Oberyn was planning on assassinating Tywin, and then going on trial for that crime, and fighting the Mountain there and then. So Oberyn's reputation as a poisoner really plays into this, and Tywin died on the shitter, voiding himself, as it were. I think there's signs of him being ill previous to this. They had breakfast once together, Oberyn and Tywin, where it could have happened. And so the idea is that Tyrion killed a dying man. And Oberyn's initial plan was to fight the Mountain for that reason. And so, yes, I think that Oberyn did poison Tywin, and I like it. And whoa, let's do that again. So the reason I like this is it explains something, and the thing that it explains is Oberyn's like overall plan. Hang on, I can't say definitely. I like it. Hang on, let's put it maybe here. I quite like it actually. Actually, maybe even up here. Yeah, that's how much I like it. So, yeah, when Oberyn arrives in King's Landing, he says that he seeks justice against Gregor Clegane. At least I'm pretty sure he says it in like so few words, and then. But the thing is, Gregor Clegane is not in King's Landing when he gets there, and there's no reason for Gregor Clegane to come to King's Landing. There's a war going on, and Gregor Clegane is a part of that war. He's fighting in the war. So why does Oberyn think that he'll have the chance to kill Gregor Clegane in King's Landing? And so that's what leads me to think that his plan was to kill Tywin, get caught, demand a trial, kill Gregor. I think that adds up quite a lot to me. And then just when Tyrion was accused of Joffrey's murder, he jumped onto that. As you know, well, maybe he genuinely believed that Tyrion was innocent and wanted to defend him, but I think the ulterior motive, I mean, it's quite obvious. I think he basically says that the ulterior motive is that he wants to fight Gregor. So, yeah, he always wanted to do that, but he didn't have an opportunity to do it until there was a trial by combat going on. So I think he came to King's Landing with the idea that he would go on trial for killing Tywin. And some people were like, well, hang on, he wanted a confession out of Tywin before Tywin died. And I think, no, I don't think that was important to him. He seems convinced of Tywin's guilt already, and I think humiliating Tywin is already, you know, having him shit himself to death is pretty humiliating. So, yeah, I do think Oberyn poisoned Tywin. But then the weird thing is that Tywin's corpse doesn't... Hang on, what is it? Yeah, it smells. It stinks. It smells fucking awful. Even though the maesters did the thing where they embalmed him, basically. And he still stinks. And I think that that's irrelevant. I don't think that that's part of this. I think that's just Germ telling us about Tywin's rotten soul or something like that. I don't think that really plays into whether or not he was poisoned. Alright. This might be our last one, whatever our next one is. Oh, you know what? Let's do this one. Sorella is Alaras. Now, this one is so true that that people kind of don't want to accept it. You know how R+L=J became so widely known that people started like hunting for other theories like what we see down here and over here. Well, that's kind of what happened to Sorella is Alaris. It's so obvious that people are like, well, that can't possibly be true. And yes, it can. Sometimes obvious things are the thing. Sometimes the thing that appears to be true is true, and this is one of those times. I think the possibility that Sorella isn't Alaras is like so infinitesimally small. It's like I cannot fathom seeking another explanation for this. So yeah, I don't really care if she is he or not. It doesn't really impact me. I'm not gonna lose sleep if it turns out that it's not. That by that I'm saying that it gets a pretty neutral rating on the love it hate it scale, but it's fucking true. It just is. Why else? Alaras isn't a name. You can't just do that. No, I think that as far as red herrings go, that's too much for Gurm. He wouldn't do that. Yeah, no. Sorella is hilarious. Come on. So I think what I must then follow that up with is, and this will be our last one, and this one's a favorite of mine. Sorella Sand is Shay. This I've got nothing, man. How do you talk about this one? This is insane. Sorella Sand, daughter of Oberyn, the only unaccounted for sand snake at Sunspear. Well, not Suns, well, you know, in Dawn. No. She's not the person whose name is hers backwards at the Citadel, you know, getting close with the very important, knowledgeable, scheming magical player Marwyn, doing that for her family. No. She's a camp follower in... She's a whore. She's a camp follower in the Riverlands, and are you on bath salts? This is fucking mental. Sorella Sand is Shay? What are you doing? No. Oh. Stop. Okay. Hang on. Let me just put this where it belongs. There we go. Now, I know there's more to that, but I mean, there's renditions of this theory that have more going on that are even less palatable than Sorella Sand being Shay. But I think that that's enough. I think that just making that statement on its own is enough for me. So, yeah. That'll do us for today. There's still so many more to get through, and I guess we're just gonna have to keep going. It might be tomorrow, it might be 2 days from now. I can't do them all on weekends, is what I'm figuring out. So, well, this is my life now. I stream and I know things. I don't actually know many things. I'm just giving you my opinions, man. Hopefully they're well-informed opinions, but anyway, that'll do us. I'm not sure. I think next stream I'm gonna start with a blank slate again, just so it doesn't get too crowded. I think that's probably the way of doing it. Okay, so that's us. I'm super hungry now, and I have so many other things to do with my day. So it's been lovely sitting here yammering on at you for 3 hours, and let's do it again sometime. All right, thanks so much for checking in. I work on videos all the time. I expect it'll be another 2 weeks for episode 3 of season 6. Then hopefully shorter wait before episode 4. It's difficult to gauge how long these are going to take. You'll have noticed, I'm sure some of you, that there's a kind of change in tone in the Piss Take series, and that's not like anything to do with me, really. It's because the show's issues are different. They're very different to the issues it faces in seasons 7 and 8, you know? So it takes a lot more time and efforted analysis to get into the issues plaguing season 6. So the videos aren't longer because I've become worse at getting my point across concisely. In fact, I think I pack more... no, probably not more points. I just more detail into the points than I used to. It's because Season 6 isn't as bad as Season 7 and 8. I mean, it's not just because of that. It's because it's bad in more complex ways. It's also good in a lot of ways, and I need to address those as well. So there you go. That's why Season 6, those videos are longer, and the tone is different. I hope you still enjoy them. They've been performing so well. It's been incredible watching them. I'm so happy to be back. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Man. Glimbus out.